Hello, welcome back guys to another video. This time about my Champions League quarter-final predictions. So, as you may know, I had a busy week. Also went to Colombia versus France on Sunday. And yeah, that was a good game to watch, but sadly we lost 3-1. So it's only right that I give you my predictions for these sets of games. And yeah, we got some exciting matchups coming up, like a Arsenal versus Sporting, Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid again. Also, we played today, so yeah, I'll give you more updates later. And of course, PSG versus Liverpool and Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. And trust me, you will want to stay until the end because I'm gonna have an upset in this prediction video. So yeah, let's get right into it. So starting off with probably the least important game, in my opinion, Arsenal versus Sporting. Now don't get me wrong, this is probably an underrated game because here's why. Sporting have been an exciting team to watch. They finished seventh in the Champions League phase, which meant that they skipped the playoffs and had to play Bodo Glimt in the round of 16. Well, in the first leg, yep, they lost 3-0. But then it will be like even me in my old prediction video, my second leg prediction video, I said that Bodo Glimt would advance because they were playing really well. They were like the Cinderella stories. They beat they won 5 games in a row, and I thought Bodo Glimt would win, but nah, Bodo Glimt, you guys disappointed me so badly. We then Sporting just did a remontada and won 5 goals to zero. Also, my Colombiano Luis Suarez scored a goal. So yeah, now they have to play Arsenal. So yeah, enough about Sporting. Now let's move on to Arsenal. Now Arsenal. Okay, I know that they finished first in the Champions League phase. They skipped the playoffs, played Bayer Leverkusen in the round of 16. Well, the first game, it was dodgy for Arsenal. I think they got lucky in that game because they got a last-minute penalty. Because yeah, and probably Noni Madueke can't. He dived. It was obviously a dive, and the ref gave a really soft penalty. So yes, so I think that and yeah, Kai Havertz scored against former club to give Arsenal the advantage. And of course, yeah, they won 2 goals to 0. I thought that would happen. Yeah, and yeah, Eze scored and Declan Rice scored. Yeah, two great goals in my opinion. So yeah, and now but Arsenal, it's not been looking good in their past 2 games. So first, they lost the Carabao Cup final to Manchester City, 2 goals to 0. And now they have lost to Southampton in the FA Cup. I do not know what's going on with Arsenal, but they have completely fallen off after the Carabao Cup final. So yeah, so now they have to play Sporting, but Sporting, do not underestimate them. They have a tough home ground. If you play at them in the home ground, it's gonna be difficult because that atmosphere is gonna be loud as hell. I'm telling you. So yeah, Sporting, great players like Luis Suarez, Pedro Gonçalves, Trincao, uh, Zeno, Debast, etc. I think that Sporting have good players, underrated players, yes, and they could pull off an upset against Arsenal. But Arsenal's defense is just solid as a concrete block. But if they play like that, how they played against Manchester City, if they play like that versus versus Sporting, they are cooked. And yeah, that's exactly what I think that's gonna happen. I think that Sporting are gonna knock out Arsenal and get revenge after the last season humiliation 5-1. I know Arsenal have good red players like Saliba, Gabriel, Gyökeres. Gyökeres actually showing well. Bukayo Saka, Odegaard, Rice. Yeah, Arsenal pretty much stacked, but I think Sporting are gonna pull off the upset because I don't think Arsenal are gonna take this game seriously. I think they're gonna focus more on the Premier League. They're pretty much gonna win the Premier League, but I think Arsenal are gonna lose. Sporting first game, it's gonna finish high scoring, pretty high scoring. I think Sporting can win 3-1. But the second leg, I think Arsenal are just gonna use their haram ball tactics and win 1 goal to 0. So I think Sporting will advance to the next round. So yeah, now moving on to Liverpool. I mean, no, Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. So starting off with Real Madrid. So they, it's not looking good for them because today they just lost 2-1 to go Vamos. They lost 2-1 to Mallorca. away. They dropped points in La Liga, and Barcelona won today. So that means they moved 7 points clear. So Real Madrid are not having the best of games, best times right now. I love to see it. I love to see it. And yeah, they have to play now Bayern Munich. But in the Champions League, they finished ninth outside the top eight. So I mean, they went to the playoffs, beat Benfica, but then they have to play Manchester City in the round of 16. But the first leg was a piece of cake for Real Madrid. They won 3 goals to 0 thanks to a brilliant hat trick from Fede Valverde. So then, in the second leg, here's what happened. So the game started with a handball from Bernardo Silva. Then Vinicius Jr. scored a goal. And Bernardo Silva obviously got a red card. And then Vinicius Jr. scored a goal. And then he scored again to seal the game for Real Madrid and advance against Manchester City. So yeah, Vinny Jr. absolutely cooking. He absolutely embarrassed Man City. He got revenge after from last season when he got showed the tifo "Stop crying your heart out" from Man City, and yeah, Holland scored, but wasn't enough. I thought Man City were going to come back, but I just ended up looking like a fool after what happened. So yeah, now moving on. Now Real Madrid have great players like Kylian Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Fede Valverde, Alvaro Carreras, Antonio Rudiger, Arda Güler, and yeah, but Rodrigo's injured, so yeah, they're pretty much stacked. Bellingham also returned from injury too, so that's a huge plus for them. But now, now we're moving on to Bayern Munich, who are arguably the best team in the world. No, it's not Arsenal. They just battled it versus Southampton today. It's Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are probably the best team in the world right now. And yeah, they even came back today. They scored after the 80th minute. They scored 3 goals in like 10 minutes, which is just crazy from Bayern Munich. So yeah, but Bayern Munich, yep, they finished second in the Champions League phase, then beat Atalanta over the 2 legs in the round of 16. Yeah, of course it wasn't even a contest because the first game finished 6-1 to Bayern, and yeah, now they're in the quarterfinals versus Real Madrid, and yeah, they have great players. Bayern Munich, they're playing really good. Like Harry Kane, Michael Olise, who's breaking Messi record for fun. Luis Diaz, he absolutely balling out. Uh, who else? Yeah, Musiala. Musiala's also playing really well after he came back from injury, etc. etc. I think that Bayern by far they're way better than Real Madrid right now because they just lost to Mallorca. If they play like that against Bayern Munich in the home first leg, it's gonna be pretty ugly for Real Madrid. So I think my prediction is gonna be Real Madrid are gonna lose to Bayern Munich. Yeah, you heard it here first. First leg in the Bernabeu, I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I think that's gonna be a 2-2 draw, and the second leg is gonna. I think Bayern will run through Real Madrid and beat them 3-1 in their own home stadium. I mean, the first leg is gonna finish 2-1 for Bayern. Second leg 3-1 for Bayern. So they advance to the next round. So yeah, now moving on to another repetitive game: Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Now these two games have been extremely entertaining. Entertaining. Like today we played, and yeah, we won 2-1 thanks to a goal from Lewandowski and Rashford. So yeah, and now the Copa del Rey semi-final, they absolutely clapped us 4-0, and then yeah, and then we came back to win 3-0. I mean, we almost came back, but it was a good effort. But still, these games have been entertaining. 3-1 in La Liga, first up in our first game back in December we won, but then we collapsed against them. So yeah, starting off with my team Barcelona, we're playing really well right now. Of course, we won today. We're 7 points ahead of Real Madrid in La Liga, but in the Champions League, yeah, we finished fifth in the league phase, but then we had to play Newcastle. Yeah, we played them away from home first. Well, we got lucky. We escaped with a 1-1 draw thanks to a Lamine Yamal 90th minute equalizer. And then we had to play them at home, and of course, we absolutely clapped them 7 goals to 2. We absolutely dominated them. I think that was a really good performance from us. And yeah, now moving on. So yeah, Barcelona, we have great players like Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski, Marcus Rashford, Fermin Lopez, Dani Olmo, Pedri, Frankie de Jong, uh, Koundé, and Balde are back. But yeah, now a huge loss for us is Rafinha. He got injured versus France in the March international break, so he'll be missing 5 weeks. This is just. I'm so sad, bro. I'm so sad. We need Rafinha. That is so bad that he got injured. So unlucky for us. But I think we have to go now, and we have to win this game. We have to win this game if you want to win the Champions League. So yeah, now moving on to Atletico Madrid. As I previously mentioned, yeah, they had to go to the playoffs. They beat Club Brugge, but then they played Spurs in the round of 16. Of course, it was an absolute cakewalk for Atletico Madrid. First they won 5-2, and then they lost 3-2 because yeah, they weren't even trying, because pretty easy game. Now they have to play Barcelona in the quarterfinals. They're fourth right now in La Liga, which is not impressive for them. They're in the Copa del Rey final as well. Now they have great players. I know, like Aromel Lukman, Julian Alvarez, Alex Baena, Thiago Armada, Griezmann, Sorloth. They have great attack, also great defenders like David Hankel. So I think that they might play a haram ball, and we might get cooked. So with their defensive tactics. So now time for my final prediction. I know they didn't play their strongest lineup today, Atletico Madrid, but it's probably to save their players for the Champions League. So I think my final prediction, I think we're gonna win this game. I think we're gonna beat Atletico Madrid over and advance to the next round. So first game we're gonna finish 3-1 to us. Second game, I think we can scrape past one by 1 goal to 0. So yeah, that's my final prediction for Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Visca Barça. And yeah, now moving on to probably another highly anticipated game, PSG versus Liverpool. Okay, so now the game everyone has eyes on, PSG versus Liverpool. Oh my God, a repeat of the Champions League round of 16 game from last season, where Liverpool lost. Well, first they won 1 goal to 0, but then they lost on penalties. So Liverpool, they will be looking for revenge, but it's not been good for Liverpool right now. I know, yes, right now they're currently sixth in the Premier League. I just think, I know, they're playing really terrible this season. Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on with Liverpool, man. They're not the same as last season, but in the Champions League, it's been a different story. They've been playing much better in the Champions League, like way better. And I think that Liverpool they could pull off a good fight against PSG. So yeah, so Liverpool first. I know, yeah, but today I don't think they can actually beat PSG, because today they just lost. They got absolutely hammered. They got absolutely dog walked by Manchester City, 4 goals to 0, where Erling Haaland scored a hat trick, and Semenyo also scored. Yeah, I like Semenyo. I'm not gonna see him. I'm gonna see him in the World Cup this summer. So yeah, uh, Liverpool just got absolutely cooked. But the Champions League has been a different story. They finished third in the league phase, and then they had to play Galatasaray in the round of 16. Well, first leg did not go to plan. They lost 1-0. But then in the second leg, I thought Galatasaray were gonna do it. They let me down. They lost four. Got absolutely cooked, 4 goals to 0, thanks to a golazo by Mohamed Salah, a goal from Hugo Ekitike, Ryan Gravenberch, and yeah, and Dominic Szoboszlai. Of course, he's been Liverpool's best player this season. And Liverpool, they have great players. Mo Salah's leaving at the end of the season, but still a key player to them. Florian Wirtz, Dominic Szoboszlai, Ryan Gravenberch, Hugo Ekitike. Who knows? Maybe Isak might be fit for the game. Who knows? But probably not. Probably not. And yeah, so it's like best player for Liverpool right now. So I think that. So yeah, now moving on to PSG. Now they finished 11th in the league phase. They beat Monaco, well, scraping through, but then they had to play Chelsea in the round of 16. Repeat of the Club World Cup final. The first game was PSG absolutely smoked them 5-2, but if you think that first leg was humiliation, the second leg was even worse. They won 3-0 and absolutely got revenge after that Club World Cup disaster class from PSG. And yeah, now PSG, they move on to the quarterfinals to play Liverpool. And yeah, PSG looking scary as hell. They have great players like Ousmane Dembele, Desiree Doué, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, Joao Neves, Nuno Mendes, Hakimi. One great player in every position except for the goalkeeper. But I think that PSG they could pull off a great fight here, and they could absolutely cook Liverpool because Liverpool play versus PSG how they did against Man City. They're absolutely getting smoked. So yeah, now time for my final prediction. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Liverpool fans, but I have to say PSG are the way better team. I think PSG are gonna win this game. First game is gonna be easy for PSG. I'm sorry Liverpool, but I think PSG are gonna win 3-0 first leg. But the second leg, I think Liverpool can go away with 1-0 win. So I'm sorry, Liverpool fans. I'm very sorry, but you guys are getting knocked out. I just think PSG have too much class for y'all. So yeah, those are my final predictions. And yeah, we'll see you guys for the return leg.